like to welcome everyone to the Wilton Community School District, Monday, October 9th, 2017, school board meeting. The mission of the Wilton Community School District is to provide an education that encourages continual progress and improvement of one's abilities, the expansion of one's interests and knowledge, and the growth of one's character. Call to order roll call, please, Joy.
Linda Duncan.
Here.
Tony Hurd.
Here.
Gary Maurer. Rob Metzger.
Here.
And Tara Wayne.
Here. Thank you. Agenda approval. Any additions, changes, or corrections, Mr. Burnett?
I have none.
Good.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, we'll do the minutes from the September 18th regular meeting first. Please.
Move to approve the minutes from September 18th.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, the September 18th reorganizational meeting.
Move to approve the minutes from the reorganizational meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And lastly, the September 27th work session.
Move to approve the minutes of the September 27th, 2017 work session.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All righty. Public forum, we have two gentlemen with us
Yes,
tonight.
as the board knows, we try to bring in teachers throughout the school year, students, and Mr. Snavely would introduce our two teachers tonight and what they're going to talk a little bit about.
Okay. I'd like to introduce Mr. Beckley and Mr. Hewitt, and they're both science teachers, as you know, and they went through some training this summer. It's a STEM innovator training, and they've been utilizing this in their classrooms with their skinny classes as well this year, and they're here tonight to share how things are going and how they plan to move things forward from here. So, welcome, gentlemen.
Great, thank you.
Full disclosure.
Okay, Joe.
We did our training this summer. It's still actually ongoing, and pitching what we plan to do is part of our assignment. And so they said, you can get one of your pitches out of the way by presenting to your board. And we're like, yes, let's do that. Otherwise, it's us on Skype, basically talking to other teachers, and it's not all that interactive. So, but
So it's a win-win.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, so
Good.
plus we thought, you know what, you guys probably would like to hear what's
Yes, we
going
would.
on and what's going to happen. So
Definitely.
this summer we were afforded an opportunity to take the STEM Innovator training through the University of Iowa, and it incorporated a lot of different school districts in Iowa, but also Virginia,
Oh.
Minnesota, Arkansas. And so we were on Zoom, the program, and we were with these people 10 times. We had 10 two-hour classes that we had to attend, and it all led us to teaching problem-based learning for our students. It's not project, but it's real-life problem-based. And so, go ahead.
Okay, so we've been researching what the issue is and then trying to come up with a problem or with a solution specifically for our community. And we've identified in our school that there's not enough real-world problem-based learning happening, that when students come away they don't feel like they've really done anything real with their education sometimes. So we also identified a community problem, that the set of workers with the skills required to get and maintain jobs, and also involvement with the high school is maybe there's room for growth, definitely, in those areas. So our problem statement then became the Wilton Community School District needs more problem-based education that connects students to their local community and provides them with useful skills for joining the workforce.
So our first objective was to kind of identify who the stakeholders were on everything, and we have our administration, superintendent, principal, curriculum director, and guidance counselor, because we're gonna need guidance counselor as well, because he's the ones that signing the kids up and coding the courses and all that. We need to get student buy-in, and as our timeline will be coming up here, but we will start recruiting kids. I don't think we'll have an issue. We've already kind of narrowed down about 10 to 20 that we'd like to start with. Being that this is going to be new for us, we're kind of handpicking. So we know what's going to happen. We know, hey, this kid's a doer and this kid's a thinker, and trying to match up some of that. I also went around this summer and talked to the businesses there on the right, and I asked, my main question was, what do you look for in a worker? When you go to hire somebody, what do you look for? And weird enough, resoundingly across the board came communication skills and being able to talk and go deeper on explaining things. I mean, that was far and above the biggest thing. And with this training, or what we do with them, part of it is they have to design things for somebody else. It's an empathy thing. You have to figure out what somebody else wants and design for them, which means you have to ask the right questions. You also have to listen to what the person wants, because you're not designing for yourself. And it was, Rick and I went through this as well this summer, and we had to design a refrigerator for somebody else, going off of their specification. It's somewhat difficult to make sure that you ask the right questions, but that's what this course is leading us to, is that they will be solving problems for other people.
So we've decided to integrate this into our skinny system. A lot of schools don't have this opportunity, but with our skinny block, I think it really adds a perfect time for students to get to do this. You all know what the schedule is, so we don't have to go through that, but we will be co-teaching this course together during that skinny period.
And when we sat down and did the math, it was like, that's a lot of time. And when we told other people that were at the other schools that we had this much time, they were frankly pretty jealous. Because they're trying to hash out with their administrators when they can fit it in. And if they can't fit it into its own class, how are they going to fit it into their classes? What content are they going to drop to try to get some of this in? And that we can do it all as one class is phenomenal. This is some of the customer discovery. Again, we have to do this because we're pitching to people that don't know who any of these people are. But I mean, you guys know who we're talking about. So Rick also did some discovery on some students over the summer. He got some former students and some current students and had them do a poll on Google and see what they thought about problem-based. Something that kind of got lost is every time we talk about problem-based learning, everybody goes back to project. And we're not a fan of project-based learning, but we want problem-based learning.
And so this is our timeline that we have proposed for getting this class going. We've gone through planning the course content and the materials. We've got that pretty well hashed out. Now we've got some business partners already aligned with what we're doing, but we are still looking for more business partners that would be interested in getting the students in there, solving real problems with them that they have in their workplace, and helping to build these skills that they're looking for in the workforce. In November, we're going to start looking for students, specifically talking to students who would be interested in it. And then December is the scheduling and materials if we need any. And then January, we'll start the course, and then we'll run throughout the spring.
Are you looking exclusively at Wilton businesses then, or are you looking kind of
Actually,
just in the area? Or?
he got interest this just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's not, there's a MSA professional services also out of Muscatine, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, they are interested in partnering with us too, so not necessarily just in Wilton, but maybe a larger community as well.
I might be able to get you a connection with Han Ready Mix.
That'd be great, yeah. Yeah, part of our pitching tonight too was seeing what kind of resources in terms of community partners might be possible from this aspect as well.
here's our team. Again, you know all these people. To start the course this summer, we had to do a strengths finder. And this is what we would do with all the students starting in January to start the course, is have them identify their strengths. It's not a strengths and weakness, it's all strengths, but this one narrowed it down to your top 5. And so Rick and I were kind of all over. We covered multiple domains, so fairly compatible to teach together, because he is kind of the relationship and the strategic thinking, but I'm the influencing and the executing version of that. So he can help the kids think, and I can crack the whip and get them going and get results.
Good.
And this is what the students will be filling out as they go through the course. When they find a problem and they start to solve it with that business, they will go through these different channels of identifying the problem, partners, activities, values, customer relationships, revenue streams. All of this is part of the structure of STEM Innovator that's been tested through various institutes. We took the course through University of Iowa, which has been the main institute that has been implementing this, but it's been tested and tried many times, and it's shown a lot of success in different communities.
Biggest thing that we're hoping is that they take away from this a sense of usefulness, and they can gain some skills that make them potentially more employable. The other potential benefit to this is that as the course goes on, they keep a portfolio of what they've done, and at the end they can take a test, and if they pass the test, they get college credit. They get
Engineering.
Yeah, it's an engineering credit from the University of Iowa. So it's nice. And nice. When we looked at the customers, I know I talked to WTC, and Mark had expressed interest in potentially trying to use this as a potential find kids that would be interested in like an internship to work there, because everything's going to tech. The old rotary phones are gone.
Yeah.
Everything's internet. So, and then he had expressed some interest in helping out with us. So we've got the ball rolling, and we're going to keep pushing it down the hill here. And we just wanted you guys to be aware of what we were doing, and hopefully get some of your help as well.
And our goal eventually is for a sustained course, whether it's annual or semi-annual, something that the kids know is coming, and they know that they want to sign up for it, and they know the products that they can get from it, and we have something that our school and our community is proud of.
And students have to pay for that though, right? They get that credit, they pass the test.
Yeah, there's a small fee to take the test.
And I think it's great, that, with the skinny opportunity that we have at the end of each day,
Right.
these are the things that we're branching out into. So
Right.
it's been wonderful.
Very good.
Yeah.
Other than businesses and that kind of stuff, is there anything else you need from us to help?
We don't know right now.
Well, let us if you do. Let us know.
Okay.
too.
Yeah, we've got an idea of where we're going, what we're doing. It's just a matter of getting into it to figure out where we're going to need stuff.
And you're looking at 20 kids this year?
Hopefully around that. That would be nice.
That's a round number.
Yeah.
Well, if it works, if you came back
Yeah.
later in
Yeah.
the school year
Oh,
after.
yeah.
Yeah, we'd like,
Yeah.
ideally
just to
we'd like to
follow up.
come back with some projects that they
Yeah.
Right.
products.
Yeah,
that
that'd be
they
great.
put together.
Or even have some students come back and share. their
Yes.
experience.
Okay. Well, thanks for
Great.
coming,
Yeah,
guys.
Thank you.
Great,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to business financial functions.
Number 5, the taxation fund financials, and I have the budget numbers in this month. Any questions or comments? I have the taxation funds. On the bond construction account, that's what's left from the building project that was not already put aside for demolition. And you go to page 5, the $40,000 is what's left from the demolition from the construction, and it's all revenue bond money, so working towards getting that spent. That, since it's revenue bonds, it can be spent on anything that instant sales tax money can be spent on. And then if you go down to the debt service, notice that under expenditures, I have the $200,000 surplus for GO bond redemptions that we levied for. So I will be in communication with Piper Jaffray and Bankers Trust to find out how that is going to progress here this year, because I haven't gotten any additional paperwork since we did the resolutions and did all that approval. So, but we will be paying off an extra $200,000 in GO bonds this year, and saving, it was like $90-some thousand in interest.
I like that.
Yeah. So any questions or comments on any of the taxation funds? If not, go to number 6, which is the instructional support levy program reports. And the revenue stream at the top, and then the budget's in the middle of the first page, and what we spent to date at the bottom, and on the top of the second page is what remains by each category. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll move on to number 7, which is the self-insurance fund. As always, lower left-hand corner shows the breakdown between medical, dental, and vision. And all of the, I pay the self-insurance fund monthly for dental and vision, but the medical sits in the general fund until the end of the year. Occasionally in the middle of the year, I pay that over, but all interest from self-insurance fund goes to the general fund anyway, so. Any questions or comments? Number 8 is latchkey. And see, our numbers are up in the 60s for the school year program. And we're on the road now to having our monthly revenues exceed our monthly expenditures for like the second or third month in a row, and the balance has gone up from July 1st to 19,000 to 30,000. So, and then
So are our numbers higher compared to last year?
we're coming to that.
Okay.
The next report quickly is the period
Oh,
vendor
yeah.
report, number 9, which shows what, in addition to payroll, what expenses were in September for latchkey. And then number 10 is the
Oh, yeah.
quarterly report. The numbers are way up.
Yeah.
So if you're going back to the summer program, you can see from July, August, September, well, September obviously it's not summer program, but July and August were both up by 13 both months. And then school year, which started in August and then September, is also up considerably. So.
Okay.
Then 11 is the nutrition fund report. First page is the usage for lunch and breakfast, month and year to date, starting with August, first day of the school. And then the financials are the second page. And we continue to have a healthy balance in the nutrition fund. Any questions or comments? Number 12 would be the period vendor report for September for the nutrition fund, in addition to payroll. Thirteen is the first page is the activity fund report. Has the music and the athletic breakdown to the side. We talked about the drama speech negative. We had to zero them out from a negative balance from the play last year, starting for July 1st, and then they've ordered some scripts this year, so that's why that's in the negative. And we have no other negatives this month to report on. And athletics, or the activity fund, continues to have a healthy balance. And then we got a odd page in the middle there, but go to page 3.
I had to add a line, I didn't see that.
It's okay, John.
Page 3, we have our FFA Enterprise Fund. So, see there have been some payments for the hogs from the fair time, and those accounts continue to be in the black. And then our flex spending account, which we keep locally, and then the agency fund, which are accounts that Joy does the accounting for, and it's owned by someone else, but it's in the school's best interest to account for the money. So, and the new Backpack Buddies, you can see this
Yeah,
one,
I see that.
is the program that Terry's starting in the, kind of with the nutrition fund, but we're running it through the agency fund to send food home to kids for weekends that may not get to eat well for the weekend. So far she's collected quite a bit of money for that, and I think she's collected more since August or October 1st too. So it was
I
1,900
know
then.
she's doing
I think
a lot
we're
to
close-
promote
I
that,
think we're
so
close to 3,000 right now.
I think that's a good thing.
And she's starting with the elementary,
Yeah.
and then going to work into the junior, senior high. Any questions or comments on any of those funds? And then the 14 would be the September period vendor report for all of those funds. Which of course, student activity fund is always lengthy, and then short reports for FFA Enterprise and agency fund. Craft costs a lot of money, but they have raised a ton of money to run that program.
Who's that?
Trap.
Trap. Oh, yeah.
A couple of, $4,000 of expenditures out of agency fund, but they still have a lot of money. 15, co-curricular driving. Back to the long report with cross-country, football, volleyball, and then several classroom activities. And then under other, for the apple orchard from Zion, that will be billed and all the costs plus mileage recouped for that. Any questions or comments? And then 16, we come to the extra payroll report. Anything not already in a contract and previously approved and is requested for payment, I put on this report, and pretty much status quo this month. We do have a ESL student this year, so you'll be seeing that probably on a monthly basis. And then the taxation fund bills begin on report number 17. 7 pages, mostly all general fund. And then we did have a small liability claim and management fund, and ordered a few more shelving units for the elementary building out of the bond construction. And then we have a few 1-cent sales tax invoices. Any questions on any of the taxation fund bills?
What do we do to the wall in the auditorium? The moving wall?
Joe Raggett's had them come in and it was not moving and shutting like it was supposed to, because
Oh,
various
so
people
no.
had been doing it
Oh.
and not doing it properly, so they had to put some upgrades on it, and it seems to move very well right now, but
The key is, it's tough. That's like, they told us when it was put in, at least I was an elementary principal that time, back in 2004, that was the
Yeah.
biggest wall they've ever put in terms of being retractable.
Yeah.
Okay, and in a perfect world, we actually look to have it motorized, so you can't
Right.
push it too fast.
Right.
Anybody can move it, because those doors, I don't know how many pounds they are, they're a lot heavier
And they're
than.
really tall.
Right.
to get
So anyway, over the years, when people have pushed
Pushed
them,
in,
it's just
messing with
that
the
track
pivot
up
points,
there to have
right.
all that weight, it's just,
So are we looking to motorize it or?
no, it was literally,
Lots.
I'm thinking it was like $30,000. It was an astronomical amount, so I told Joe, let's just get it fixed.
Yeah.
And this is expensive too.
Yeah, but compared to,
Yeah.
okay.
We sent communication out to everyone, just saying, this door's been fixed, or this wall's been fixed, please make sure that you get a hold of custodian or somebody that knows how to run it, so we just don't have people randomly coming in and
Just pushing it.
yeah, so I mean, you sent that out.
You can imagine if you get some speed going down there
Right.
to the end, and if it catches, it's just,
Right,
Anyway.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the bills.
A second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Stacy. We'll move on to administrative reports. And Mrs. Austin, please.
Fast update, the state changed their holder over the summer, so we are not finished testing. We're at about 85% done, and we have until the 20th, but they kept moving the window back. And the only thing that really affected us with is we didn't start I-block as early as we would have liked to, so we're gonna be short a cycle, which hopefully this will be the only year that happens. Parent-teacher conferences for us are this week, Wednesday and Thursday, and we always appreciate the parents taking the time to come and visit with us, and we usually have a really good turnout, so that's always great. Stacy alluded to the Riverbend Food Bank and Pantry backpack thing that's going on, and Terry is, I think, very close to having it done. The first go-around is scheduled for this Friday. So of course, we appreciate everybody from the United Way to churches to private donations, making this happen for our kids. And we've got 18 identified. It's, I think I listed there $150 per child per year is the cost of the program. So I think it'll work out really well for us. Leader and Me, on Mondays, we explicitly teach the habit. Today was begin with the end in mind. We're 3 weeks into everybody in the building teaching it on Monday, and then we reiterate it the rest of the week, and then we assess on Friday and try to figure out if any of it stuck or what didn't, or which, because we've got videos, we've got the workbooks, we've got all different ways to teach it, and so we're kind of figuring out what works best with which grade levels. And then we get through the 7 weeks, we'll start all over. And that's kind of how you just integrate it with the kids. And we're having our co-curricular teachers and everyone who isn't a classroom teacher sit in on a lesson every week to make sure. We're trying to get Heather and Sarah and everybody up the bottom. So again, that's been laid out really well for us. Water Rocks, Thursday, Iowa State Extension. Jenny Riggs was the one who brought this to us last year. She's no longer with them, but it was pretty successful for us last year. And this year, I think their topic is soil conservation. So our K-8 and our junior high kids help us with K-6 assemblies. And the schedule's there. 2 fire drills under the belt. Made a few changes because now we're doing them district-wide. And that seemed to work really well for us. It's always good to have those work. Fire Prevention Week is also this week. We're pretty busy this week. So Tuesday, Jason Berggren and the EMS, his fire and EMS people will be coming and talking to our pre-K through 4th grade kids. Professional development, we're done with our September book studies. We had different ones going at the same time, and everybody seemed, all of our assessments or our reflections were really positive on those. And I've listed those for you. So now we're into math data teams, and then progress monitoring, writing, and then our PBS team, and we just rotate through those every Wednesday. And tomorrow we welcome a new associate, Kelly Ant, joins us. She is one-to-one associate. We'll be starting tomorrow for a new student who moved in. I Anybody have any questions?
Do you have any news on the PTO fundraiser?
Tonight, we're counting the money tonight. Actually, we
The
start at
kids
6
were
o'clock.
all so excited.
They are excited.
Yeah.
Every day they ask me,
I bet.
when do we do it? I said, tomorrow I find out. We're pretty positive about it. Normally, Sarah has one box, those paper box, full of envelopes, fundraiser envelopes, and we have 2 of them.
Awesome.
So I think we'll be all right. Fingers crossed.
Well, if you need to go, if it's okay, I know you're helping out with that.
Oh, no, I'm fine. They know I'm
6.
not coming to talk to me.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else, any comments or questions? If not, we will move on. Mr. Snavely?
All right, I'll try to keep this relatively short, but there's a lot of stuff to cover tonight. First of all, you'll probably notice that the TVs around the building have announcements on them, so it's something, we're even trying to put them up at lunch on the great big screen, just trying to get students to read those, I guess, a little bit more than just they have maybe in the past. So if you come in at lunchtime, you'll see them posted there just to try to get some more exposure and things like that. So that's one thing we're trying to target. As far as the academic side, we have one night of parent-teacher conferences done last Wednesday, and then we'll have our other night this Wednesday before the comp day on Friday. So that's going well. I'll report out to you as far as percentage of parents that have attended. We are keeping track of that, so we'll see how that goes. Iowa assessments are coming up in November, so I'll start putting the plan together for seniors for their retreat. That schedule is actually on my desk right now. I need to start getting that organized, so that'll be coming up here. I did include all of our homecoming activities for the week. I had a couple seniors that helped me pull all the information together, and I wrote a newsletter article, and I also included that for your browsing tonight. So that was just kind of recapped everything that went on throughout the week. And it kind of helps me to really understand, what all do we do during the course of homecoming? And there's a lot of things. So the FFA field day went well. I think you all made it out there after I left that night to eat and do a tour of the FFA farm. So that the weather cooperated. So that was good. We've had some students that have gone on some college visits. I highlighted those things. And then also on the bottom of my report, I highlighted some of the students that have been involved with leadership academies and things like that. So we have the MCC one. We have several students involved, and we also have a couple students going to the National Council for Youth Leadership coming up here later in October in St. Louis. So we've had some students get some opportunities to kind of advance their leadership skills along those lines. I did not put this in my board report, but I will report out after the date. But November 1st, we do have the Iowa Teacher of the Year that will be visiting Wilton. We've been administratively working on arranging that. It so happens to be the Iowa Teacher of the Year this year is a high school classmate of mine. So she's a teacher in Norwalk. And we reached out to her and said, hey, would you come to Wilton and talk a little bit about growth mindset and teacher leadership? And she's actually in New Jersey right now as we speak, and she emailed me back before she left and said, yeah, let's confirm this. I'm ready to come to Wilton and things like that. So she'll be here, and we'll give a report out on some of the things that she talked to our staff about. And she'll visit classrooms. I know she's an elementary teacher, so she'll be really excited to visit some of those classrooms as well. So that's just upcoming, something to be aware of. Athletically and activity-wise, it's that time of the year where we just have a lot going on. Cross country is running tonight, and then they'll be running on Thursday for conference in Iowa City. The sites have been released for cross country. I think we're going to probably be in Iowa City because there's only 5 of them, and I can look at that list and know that that's where we're probably going to go. So hopefully we'll know that soon. Volleyball had their pink out night. That was successful. They won a tournament in Washington this past weekend. They will play in conference pool play tomorrow night in Monticello, and then the actual tournament bracket play will be on Thursday night. I believe that's going to be in Comanche, the way it's looking. We could end up hosting Thursday night for the consolation bracket of pool play if we would lose out tomorrow night. And if we're the highest seed that doesn't make the championship bracket, we could host. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but I want to be on the championship side of things. As long as, I know you guys do too, but just know that's how that works out. And then we do have, we are a host site for regional volleyball. So coming up here on the 23rd of October, we will host the first 2 rounds, regardless of whether we win or lose. Or we have a bye the first round, but then we're going to host either Durant or Wapello. So again, we're going to get Durant. It looks like, unless Wapello beats them. But that's how that's going to work out. The regional final, hope to be in that on the 31st of October. That will be the game to go to state. I'm betting that'll be Iowa City Regina. Hopefully it'll be a Wilton and Iowa City Regina rematch. So that's coming up. Varsity football team has been very successful, 5-1. They will hopefully set the stage this Friday when they go to Van Buren. If they win, they'll set the stage for week 9, which will be October 20th, against Sigourney Keota to go to the state playoffs. So that's what we're hoping for with the football team. The marching band won the Cedar Rapids Prairie Marching Band Championship. I don't know if they call it a festival or what they call it there, but they brought home a really nice plaque and trophy. And then this past Saturday we had the Festival of Bands here. I think there's 15 schools that participated in that. Just overall, the season for the fall has been wonderful, from junior high all the way up to high school with our athletics and our activities. We've had a lot of success. Coach Kirkman's team was 9-0. 8th grade team was 9-0. They're done now. So that was a highlight for our junior high. And just been a really fun fall, and it's winding down. And here we go into winter activities coming up here pretty soon. So that's all I really wanted to highlight. If there's any questions you have, I'll be happy to answer those. But I think I highlighted most of the important things happening right now. So.
Thank you.
The other thing I want to add is, if you haven't liked our Facebook page and our Twitter page, and even the elementary, we're trying to be as active as we can on that, pushing information out. So if you haven't, liked that yet, or if you're on social media, do that, because we're really trying to be intentional about promoting our school. Leslie is just doing a great job. I was here Saturday. I thought I was being really, really good. I was up in the press box, and I was way at the top, and I was taking pictures of the Festival of Bands, and I'm like, yes, for once I'm going to post something when I'm going to beat Leslie to it. And lo and behold, I look down and she's out on the field, and I'm like, I thought I beat her to it, but I didn't. But she just does a really good job of getting out and about, and when I'm busy with
to do
things.
that, yep.
Yeah, she's really good at that. So anyway, kudos to her.
All right. Thank you. All right.
All right, guys.
Action items, consent agenda number 1.
You bet. There's just one under consent, well, actually 2, excuse me. One resignation, and that's Samantha Reed for assistant varsity volleyball coach, and that is for next year. She stepped in this year to help us out because we didn't have the kind of applicants we wanted. So she's just getting that out there, so we have the opportunity to replace her in that position. That's what that's for. And item number 3 is school nurse. I reviewed this with Heather and just made some tweaks to what she does in her daily, activities or whatnot, and what she reports on and that sort of thing. But otherwise, nothing major in terms of the overhaul with that. So that's really it under the personnel changes. There's so many little things that every employee does that, make our school better. One of the things that sticks out for me is, Heather, this fall we got a second AED called machine, in case someone has a heart attack or whatnot. And so we've got 2 of them in the building, one on the high school end and one on the elementary end. So, stuff like that goes unseen, but yet if we have a situation, kudos to Heather for taking the lead on that.
So are there sign, are they close to the gyms?
Yeah.
Okay.
We moved it from upstairs by the office down to the gym.
We wanted it closer because we
Right.
think that could be our
Right.
That's
yeah, I
priority.
just- And if they're not, then just, so we
Well, and like
pass.
Saturday, or lots of times, like if we have a volleyball tournament, we'll lock the upstairs so people can't wander.
Yeah, right.
So it's like to find a key to get that door open,
Yeah.
get the gate open. So Heather really did a good job of strategically saying, how can we get that response team to about 4 minutes to be able to get to one of the 2, depending on where we might have an activity in the district. So
Yeah.
she helped with
I
that a
just think
lot.
that's a good place to have them.
Absolutely. That's where we have the most people.
And the most people that have,
Could.
actually, my grandma had a heart attack at a wrestling meet when my
Yeah.
brother was in high school.
No,
So, she survived.
you bet.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's just something that's important that goes on.
Yep.
on there.
Now, Is there any need to add others, I mean, eventually, or?
Well, having one in the elementary and one down there at the high school end, we're probably in a good spot right now. You know, it's one of those things too, you know, they cost $1,600 to $1,800 a piece, so we've got two. You know, if someone were to drop one off, certainly we'd, you know, put them in other spots throughout the school.
Yeah.
But I think we're in a good spot.
Okay.
That's all. We just had one, so that's why we met this
Yeah.
fall and said, hey, let's get a second one, because I don't ever want something to
Right.
happen and we'd say, well, we couldn't afford the $1,800 for a
Right.
second AD. So,
Kind of along what Tony's saying with the spectators, I mean, even one that goes
To
out,
the football stadium?
yeah, or during
or-
baseball and softball season, I mean,
Yeah.
well, see, we have the ability to take it with us to those events
Yeah.
now.
okay.
You know, it's a
So
pack, it's
portable
basically like a
use,
back,
okay.
it looks like a
Yeah.
backpack, I call it a
Yeah.
backpack, or duffel bag, you know, small.
That's how we have, yeah.
So there's certainly flexibility and,
Yeah.
And I recommended getting another one, and Heather kind of talked me out of it because she said basically, Mark, you gotta remember, we have to update these every so many years.
Right.
Oh,
And then
okay.
all the pieces you buy to update it are so expensive,
Right.
instead of having 3 versus 2.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's a pretty, it's not just buying it, it's keeping
Mhm.
right.
Upkeep.
So-
Okay.
Batteries and everything.
Where's the one on the elementary side?
I believe Heather has it in the office right now. Or is it out in the
it.
commons?
It's down by the gym somewhere, isn't it?
Where does she have it?
I'm not sure. I can go look. I'm not sure.
Just curious.
I think it's
And
by
then-
the gym.
Yeah.
I think it is too. I don't know why I said office. I know she was, yeah. I think it's, we try to keep it near where the biggest area of people would be in
Right.
case there's a situation and down by the auditorium.
Right.
But which end? Are you talking Mr. Serrata's end or the auditorium?
I think, you know what? I'm gonna go look.
Elementary.
All
I
right,
would-
well, no, that's a fair question.
I think it's by the junior high gym.
Probably, because
You think
that's
so,
where the
the junior high?
I think
spectators
so.
should be.
I think
Look
it's
there
worse.
first.
Because the
Yeah.
elementary gym really,
That's way down there.
well,
Yeah,
that's
way
it,
down
I
there, and
mean,
you won't have,
you won't
The
have
number of
the,
spectators we have,
isn't gonna be
more
there.
condensed
It's gonna
than
be
the
the
junior
junior,
high
the
gym.
junior, senior.
he's got
Where's the
more
high
stuff.
school one?
Huh?
Is it?
We moved it down
Gym?
in the commons area, right by the gym, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I had Joe move the AED sign and everything, so. it's all done.
anyway, I know I took
Okay.
us sideways for a little bit,
That's
Yeah.
okay.
but
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think it's good for the public to know where they're at too.
Absolutely,
Correct.
absolutely.
It's- With the varsity football, at least the paramedics are there,
Right,
but
right.
put some kind of plan for other sporting events would be a good idea,
Well, I
probably.
hate to say worst case scenario, but worst case scenario, we could get to the gym, you know, from the concession, I mean,
Yeah.
if we had
Correct.
something happen.
Absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
Right,
It's not ideal, but certainly
No.
within that 4-minute range, you could.
right. Yeah, because you're gonna be booking anyway. You're
Exactly.
not gonna send some guy who walks like me to go get it.
No, well, the weight room doors, usually, the weight room door's open because
Right.
we have people standing there. I mean, if you
Yeah.
run in and grab it,
Right.
and we've got the Cub, so you can get on that and go to different spots throughout the campus if you had to.
All right, should we keep going? We'll have Denise report. back to us.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's consent agenda number 1.
Shouldn't affect the outcome of consent.
No, it
agenda
should
number
not,
one.
it's just informational.
So have we voted yet?
No, we haven't done anything.
I make a motion, we approve consent agenda number 1.
Hi, second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda number 2.
Just a review of district policies. I don't have anything to add or comment on this month there.
Good.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda number 2.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right.
One action item, and quite honestly, it doesn't even have to be approved tonight, but I put it out there based upon our conversation on our work session in September. As you know, we had some good conversation about our goals and whatnot, and if we could look at the academic side a little bit more and just get things in paper and in writing that's also real and relevant. I went back to the administrative team and I said, hey, what's already listed as our district long-range goals, but I said, let's come up with, 4 to 6 things in each one that A, we're currently doing, but also alludes to where we want to go. And one of the difficult parts in our roles in education is just how much things can change educationally, whether it's via funding, whether it's state assessment, whether it's a new ESSA, which is still being rolled out, which is the federal pieces or whatnot. So it's tough for us to do anything academically more than a year or two just because of that, because we're in flux. But I do think what they came up with, and looking this over with them, is good, as it gives a good snapshot of where we're at. And also, as a board member, hopefully, you look at this stuff, and if you're asking the community about what you might be doing for science or math or reading or making students feel safe and connected at school, if you had this, you know, you got some talking points too. As always, these goals can be in, you know, in flux, and if there's questions, and if the board wants something different, we are wide open to that. These goals, what I've always tried to do with the boards, number one, I want it to be real. I don't want it to be something that's just looked at, you know, and put on a shelf. And number two, I want it to be attainable. You know, we look at board effectiveness and facilities technology, communication and whatnot. Those things I think have really been good because it gives us sites to set and we feel like we can check it off the list because we did it. But it's the same thing with, you know, the AYP, which is our student achievement goals. A lot of those are set by the state. You know, as far as what percentages kids need to attain 8th grade, et cetera. That's just a snapshot because there's different ones at different grades. But I think the 5 goals that are above are the long-range goals. A lot of the things we're doing really fit in nicely with that. And in the blue is the elementary, you know, kind of K-6 based, and the red's more 7-12 based. And as you know, I try to bring this up at one of our spring work sessions. We talk about the fall, spring, and then in the summer we have our retreats. I have the principals report out, you know, kind of, here's what we did this year, here's where we want to go. And so it's, I believe, a living document that has benefited us. Are there questions on it, Rob?
Do we have time frames then for each of these kind of sub-goals underneath? I mean,
not necessarily. The reason being is, for example, like with, I don't know, I'm just popped out to me. If you look at goal number 3, implementing the Iowa core training, those things, a lot of them are ongoing, and a lot depends on funding. If the Iowa core funding disappears, that training is going to disappear.
sure.
Unfortunately, the majority of these have a contingency based upon something that's out of our control.
So I guess to me, and others can disagree or agree, it'd be useful to see that it's ongoing and maybe even a note that it is funding contingent. Just for that transparency so that we can see that, you know, if we have A, B, or C cut, this is the impact. This is where we're going to feel it. And
True.
I mean, I would like to eventually see something that can maybe put on the website again for anyone to see and just to have that.
Oh, we can put this on the
transparency.
website as well.
Right.
Well, definitely,
I think
and
we
that's
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I think
Good.
this will create some really good discussions for us at our work sessions about, hey, follow up with, and again, we try to do it at the retreat, but if we can just make this a little bit more of our, you know, discussions 3 or 4 times a year, then we can update things as they go too. So again, it's not something just it's an annual thing of where it's at and ongoing and whatnot, but it's truly, it's real time, all the time. But I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
exactly.
and then the things that can be
Separated.
estimated on a timeline. You kind of, I mean, because some things obviously are already happening. You know, and we've had updates on some of this stuff, but just to have it all in one spot, kind of because. So I
Absolutely.
think it'll help with the Townsend Foundation too, as far as them seeing the interaction between their contributions and when there's some stuff already on here that is 100% tied to their generosities.
Right.
Without a doubt. Mrs. Austin and I had a meeting with the Townsend Foundation prior to this, and but yeah, that's what's interesting too. If something were to change with a foundation or change with a funding piece, which is out of our control, that totally takes some of these in and out.
Right.
So that's why it's so fluid. So anyway,
I kind of like Rob's idea though of indicating which are, you know, if it's funding contingent, we have and or it's ongoing.
you bet.
I think.
Well, why don't we do this? We will talk about it as an administrative team, and at our October work session,
Yeah.
you know, talk about each of these and where they're at. Would that be okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
and it doesn't have to be, you know, just be quick.
Yeah.
No, hey,
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Me too.
Okay, well, that's one of our agenda items on the 25th.
Okay, so we weren't gonna.
Oh,
take
Denise
it.
Austin, your hand's up.
Oh,
Did you find it?
oh, sorry, yes.
Where's Waldo? Where's?
All the way down the elementary.
Okay.
They're locked out of the gym.
Okay.
Okay.
Big white box.
So they're on each end then.
Good to know.
Okay.
Okay.
We know.
Good news
Thank
is
you.
it's a straight shot from the auditorium to run
Yes,
and grab it. You
yes.
just need a healthy person to run and grab it so they
Yes.
don't need to
Yes.
use it as well.
Definitely. All right, so we're not gonna,
No, we're gonna approve it,
Approve it.
but ultimately, this will, how do I say this? To
We'll
me,
have-
this is a snapshot in time. It's not
Right.
something that
also
can't be
always,
modified at any time.
Right.
But the reason we started having the board approve these, gosh, time gets away from me, 5 or 6 years ago. In the past, the board never approved these goals. But because we wanted to be more transparent, because we wanted it to get out, you know, to the media and whatnot, we brought it in front of the board each year in the fall to say, hey, here's what we're working on this year, here's where we're at. But that does not preclude the board from saying, hey, something just came up, we want to add something on goal number 1 in March, in November. So this is a goal that's a snapshot, in my opinion.
all right.
I would make a motion to approve the 2017-2018 board goals.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, information discussion items.
You bet, we just have one, Ms. Kelly Yance, starting tomorrow as an head associate, as a one-on-one IEP determined position. Maintenance-wise, haven't had any follow-up since, you know, we spoke at the work session. Is there anything pool board related?
We'll have our meeting Wednesday.
Okay. All right, anything goodwill or policy or legislative? You know, it's kind of the calm before the storm here with the legislative session, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Interestingly, in Larry Sigel, Margaret Buckton, state revenues have been pretty solid third quarter. We're just starting the fourth quarter. So when the state says there's no money coming in, that's not true, which is good,
Yeah.
which is good. Our work session is scheduled for the 25th, 5 p.m. And then our next regular meeting is Monday, November 13th at 5:30. Be thinking, I know we talked about this in our last work session a little bit about the school board convention, but we'll try to have everything nailed down on who's going and what days, if even so, at our work session this month. I know we don't have the newspaper here tonight, but I always like to say this publicly, our enrollment with students and seats is up 17, which is a positive.
Mhm.
So always happy when we
That's
go
the
up.
official number, right?
Yes,
Okay.
unserved. Now there's two
Right.
different numbers.
Mhm.
There's beds number, which is your resident students,
Mhm.
okay, doesn't include open enroll in and out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's served, and our served is up 17.
What's the total there?
862, K6.
This week, we're gonna work on the certified enrollment, and that's what our budget's based off of.
Okay,
Okay.
that's,
Is our-
I said beds, didn't I? Certified.
yeah.
And that's what we base our budget off of, so that takes in consideration open enrollment in and out. That we just get funding for our resident students, whether they come here or they go somewhere else, and we can afford that money.
Money to those.
Mhm.
So that's the fund that Joan and I get this business.
Okay.
Fun with Stacy. Is there anything else?
She can say fun with Joe too, right?
You
Yeah.
can. I'm sure it's more painful for her than you. Yeah, exactly. That's okay. I get it. Anything else for the good of the cause? Otherwise, good work, Team Beaver.
Yeah, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Joe, I am guessing we're gonna have a travel day on Monday back from Nashville, so I'm guessing